Hi everybody and welcome back to my Wargames hobby channel. Today I'm going to talk about something quite different. Back in mid-June I went on a short break to North Wales with my wife and her sister. To be honest, they've always wanted to go to a place called Portmeirion. I don't know whether you've heard of it, but it's a little village there was a series called The Prisoner many years ago, which was shot in Portmeirion. So if you're old enough like me, you remember that. But it's a very sort of pretty little village. And they've always wanted to go. So I've always wanted to go up Mount Snowden. I can't walk it these days. I haven't got the energy, but they do a train that goes up there. I've always fancied doing that. And the last time we went to North Wales, which was about 40 years ago, it rained the whole week, so we didn't get much done. So we thought we'd give it another try 40 years later, and we had a glorious week. We did manage to get up to Mount Snowden on the train, although we couldn't go to the very top because we were there just the week before the top was open again after nearly a 3-year break. But it didn't matter, you know, it was high enough, is 2/3 of the way up is high enough anyway. And we did manage to get to Portmeirion, and we went to a few other places as well. Now, I don't know whether you know, but there's a lot of castles in North Wales. And it seemed, for me anyway, the obvious thing to do would go and visit a few. When I booked the holiday, or back in about March or April, I started looking around for a little cottage. And by sheer fluke, I managed to find this lovely little place in a place called Criccieth, which is on the south coast, not far south from Snowdonia National Park. And not really knowing that there was a castle there, to be perfectly honest, because the castles that I wanted to go and visit if we got time was Carnarvon, Beaumaris, which is on the Isle of Anglesey, Harlech, or Conway Castle. Not that I could probably see all four, because I couldn't devote the whole holiday visiting castles. But I did hope to get one or two in. But blow me, at Criccieth there was a little castle, and it is literally about 150 yards away from where the cottage was. So I went in there, obviously, as you would do, to have a little look round. And it was fascinating. And I thought I'd show you a little video about Criccieth Castle, because it's quite interesting. Now, I don't know whether you know, but in Wales there are about 500 earthworks and stone castles, or the remains of anyway. And you might have heard the saying that Wales being a land of castles is actually quite true. And the large numbers reflect the fragmentation of power and the land in medieval Wales, when castles were built to assert authority and defend a land in a period dominated by intermittent, often localised warfare. And Criccieth is truly a castle to capture the imagination. Crowning its own rocky headland between two beaches, it commands astonishing views over the town and across the wide sweep of Cardigan Bay. It was actually probably built there because of its dominant position, and there probably was no town originally. The town would have been built around a castle afterwards. So the other way around, often castles were built in towns, but this time it was the other way around. It was possibly built in the 1230s, firstly by Llewellyn the Great, who created an immense gatehouse flanked by D-shaped stone towers. Then his grandson, Llewellyn the Last, added the outer ward, curtain walls and 2 new towers. But this craggy fortress wasn't enough to withstand the invasion of Edward I, who captured it in 1283. The English king made a few improvements because he could see the importance of the position that this was in, and equipping the North Tower with a stone throwing machine. That'd be good to see, wouldn't it? I've never heard of that, but a stone throwing machine to help deter Welsh attacks. Amazing. Then Edward II improved the castle further in the early 14th century. It was still in English hands in 1404 when the towers were burnt. by Owen Grinder. I probably pronounced that wrong. If you're Welsh, I do apologise. I never realised that a lot of these are smaller castles, and there are plenty of these around Wales, only needed about 30 defenders. In fact, it's been noted, I read somewhere, I can't remember where it was now, when I was going around the castle, it said that when it was besieged, it had 30 defenders, of which included 10 crossbowmen. So they didn't need a lot of people to defend them. Of course, if they had too many, they couldn't feed them anyway. They were just really there for the Lord or the Prince and a few retainers to hold out, and that's exactly what they did. Now, I did also go to a few other castles. I went to Harlech, which is an amazing castle, much bigger in scale to this one. I also went to Carnarvon, which I didn't go in, we didn't have time. And we went to also Beaumaris Castle on the Isle of Anglesey. I might get a chance to put short videos of the two I went in later on, another time. But I just thought I'd show you this lovely little castle. If you're ever in North Wales, be sure to give it a little visit. It's a pleasant little place. Obviously it is a ruin. There's no rooms to go in, unlike some of the bigger castles that still survive. But this is, yeah, it was an amazing little find. I never knew it even existed until I went there for my little short break. And as I say, it was so convenient just down the road. I could not resist going in. Right, I hope you enjoyed that little video. See you soon.